Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's live. I'm running just a couple minutes late. Oh my gosh, but here I am. Oh, I'm not too bad. It's only 7:01. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a super scary live tonight. I'm going to have all sorts of crazy information tonight that is going to freak you out a little bit. That's my guarantee. And in fact, if you don't learn something new tonight that you've never heard before, I will give you a free hormone test kit, because that's what I am all about, is testing hormones, taking care of hormones. I've been a medical doctor for almost 25 years now, and all day long in my clinic, I help women get their hormones balanced, get their lives back, get feeling better. So that is my passion project, is to take information and make it available to you guys. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night at 7 o'clock. So please tell your friends and enjoy the content. It's completely free. I'm here. I used to be here every night. I might even go back to every night. I might even commit to that. But for now, I'm here on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And just let your friends know, 7 o'clock. And little housekeeping. If you enjoy what I'm talking about, if you could tap the screen and it sends little hearts up and it just shows some love. And it also tells the algorithm that this is cool content that people want to hear. So if you're new here, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited. And I just love to freak people out with information. And I always say, go do research for yourself. Don't take my word for anything. I just want you to have all of the information, or at least a lot of information, so that you can make informed decisions about your choices. So tonight, what I'm going to be talking about is hormone disruptors. Oh, I was going to start with this board first, and it's kind of just my little lead in, and why this is so important, because this might be actually one of the most important conversations that you've ever heard before. And we have to start making some changes, and you can start small, but I'm going to tell you that I'm probably going to freak you out and overwhelm you about all of the chemicals in our environment. And if you stay to the end, I have 3 products that I actually pulled from my bathroom that I have never read the labels on. I think I didn't want to read the labels on them, and I still haven't read the labels on them. So tonight, I'm going to read the labels on them live with you, and probably find out that I'm going to need some new products on my skin and hair. So you'll get to do that live with me tonight, and I'll share what those products are. So I'm going to save that to the end. But absolutely, I just want to kind of plant the seed that we're going to talk about all things hormone disruption and why it's happening and what the impact is and what you can do about it. And also to tell you that if you want to get your hormones checked, you can get your hormones checked if you have trouble getting a doctor to do that for you. And you can, fasting resets hormones. Oh, yeah. Fasting's good. I'm not really going to talk about a whole lot other than avoidance, what you can do to help with detoxification, things like that, because there's so much content here. But thanks for sharing. But yeah, if you want to get a hormone test kit, just go to Hormone Bliss. That's our website. And if you go to my link in bio, there's tons of free information that you can download. And there is a link there that you can order a test kit. And then once we check your hormones, we can get you on some bioidentical hormones. I do want to tell you right up front that of all these chemicals in here, I am so proud that our bioidentical hormones do not have any of these in here. And there are probably, I always say, if your product has more than 5 ingredients in it, don't pick it up. Don't buy it. And ours has probably 10 ingredients in it, and they're all natural. So that's kind of my plug for hormones. Okay, so here, let's get into what is messing up my hormones and how many women and men, this is about men too, because testosterone, women, men both have testosterone. And I'm going to tell you about some endocrine disruptors of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. So it applies across the board. But why are so many people having jacked up hormones? And we know this is true, right? I mean, you think about it yourself. Like, how often do you feel bad? I mean, we see PMS, we see endometriosis, we see PCOS, we see all of these hormonal changes. And why? Why now? Why so much? And it's nuts. Hi, Constantina. Hey, honey. Okay. So who all we got here? We've got Haley, and we've got, let's see Haley and Vinca. That's a pretty name. Just kind of saying hi to a few folks. Welcome. And you guys, please put your questions in the chat, because all of this content is just not as important as your questions. So sometimes I just do Q&A, but tonight I've got some weird, creepy, scary information to share. Okay, so I'm gonna get into this. So what's messing with my hormones? Well, there's something called endocrine disruptors, and these are the chemicals in our environment, in our food, in our creams, in everything that we do, what we cook on, that are disrupting things. So you're probably like, okay, yeah, whatever. We know that. We know there's chemicals, but I'm going to tell you the worst of the worst so that you can start making some better choices for the worst of the worst. Yes, chemicals, yes. Okay, over the last 50 years, and I'm 50 years old, so I'm 55. So about the 50s, everything started changing. We became more industrialized, and we became more all about convenience. And so that's when a lot of this started changing. So we have increased cancer. We have increased decreased fertility problems. We have decreased fertility and infertility problems, and decreased metabolism. We're seeing more obesity than ever. And since 1970, breast cancer has gone up to 1 in 8 women over the age of 50 are getting breast cancer. Now, whatever your thoughts are, and go watch my other videos if you're scared of estrogen or scared of hormones for hormone therapy after menopause or ovarian failure. But if you're scared of estrogen, I will tell you that it's very interesting, because there was a study done in 2002. So if we were to put 2001 on here, and then we put 2002 and then 2003 on here, and all the way up to 2025, there was a study done in 2002. And before that, about 70 to 80%, I think are the stats, of women were on HRT. Now, whatever your thoughts are on HRT, I just ask that you suppress that for just a minute. If you're scared of hormones, whatever the case may be, I'll tell you right up front that you're being lied to in many, many ways about HRT. And it's very dark, and it's very creepy what the agenda is, and trying to keep women from not chasing after antidepressants and sleeping pills. And so, yeah, if you can treat someone with natural bioidentical hormones and get their balance back, you're not going to need antidepressants. You're not going to need your sleeping pills. You're not going to need all the anti-anxiety pills and all the things that they want to push at you. So the study in 2002 that was done, it took women and it put them on in a couple different groups. One of them was in an estrogen alone group. One of the groups was estrogen plus progesterone. Can't talk. And they were the synthetic estrogen and progesterone, very different. I'm going to show you some chemical structures here in just a little bit. And then a group with no hormones. And what came out of the study was not what got presented to the public. And so I just want to tell you that there was so much information that was misrepresented, almost all of it, in fact. So in 2002, that study happened, and then 2003, it went down to about 30% of women on HRT, and now they think it's about 1% of women on HRT. Okay, so since 1970, we have like this trail down of women who are on HRT. But before, in the 1970s, back here, we could put the 1970s, 80s, 90s. Before then, the cancer rates were almost nothing. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I was born in 69. So in the 70s, we had a girl in our town, a lady in our town that was the mom of someone I knew, and she had breast cancer. And everybody was like, what is that? I mean, we didn't even know what it was. And now women over 50 have a 1 in 8 chance of getting breast cancer. And yet 1% of women are on HRT. So what does that tell us? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that this lie that we're told about HRT or bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, whatever you want to say, this lie that we're told that it's dangerous and that hormones cause cancer or that estrogen causes cancer, it's just Simply not true when you use natural hormones through a transdermal or skin route. It's completely different and completely protective. So synthetic hormones that go through the liver, through our digestive tract, a little bit more of a risk, but we're talking where hardly any women are on hormones at all, and yet we have a 1 in 8 chance now of breast cancer. It is not HRT that's doing it. It's something else. And that something else is the things that I'm going to talk about tonight. Okay, so let's talk about testosterone and prostate cancer. It is up 800% since 1975. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, says that there are over 85,000 synthetic chemicals in our environment. That is mind-blowing, 85,000. Sperm counts are down by 50%, and that's just happened since the early 2000s. I think it was 2000s, yeah. PCOS is up by 50%. And cord blood babies, this is so scary. So when a mom has a baby and you have the umbilical cord and they draw blood from that cord, the baby mom mixture blood, because the mom's chemicals from mom are going to the baby. They found that there's over 200 chemicals on average in that cord blood. That is nuts. 200 chemicals are floating around in a pregnant woman. And when I say chemicals, I mean chemicals are lots of different things. I'm talking about endocrine disrupting, problematic, carcinogenic chemicals. So I'm not just talking about everything has a chemical structure to it. Estrogen has a chemical structure, oxygen and water, they have chemical structures. We're talking synthetic chemicals. Okay. And the obesity rate has tripled. It's really interesting. If you look at videos like, I don't know, if you remember Leave It to Beaver or anything like that, or Andy Griffith, there was hardly ever anybody overweight. I always say, well, Aunt Bee was overweight, but I mean, she was it, right? So it's just crazy to me that now you look around and almost everybody is overweight. And the stats are saying that 1 in 3 people have prediabetes, have insulin resistance. That's absolutely terrifying as well. So I don't mean to scare you with all this, but what I want to do is I want to make you aware of the most common ones so that you can make a more informed choice when you're buying things or when you are feeding your family. And this lie that, things are fast and easy and, takeout food is fast and easy. Well, fast and easy might well be a track to cancer and fertility issues and obesity and all the diseases that come with obesity. So, and I get it. I so get it. Convenience is everything. I've been a single mom for years. I've had multiple businesses. I have a busy medical practice. I get it. Sometimes it's just almost more than you can do to not stop and get fast food. I get it. And then sometimes when you're just busy and there's Uber Eats and things like that, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to pick off there? And so I get it. It's really hard. It takes time to prepare vegetables, and it's, sometimes more expensive. But really, when you think about in terms of your health and your children's health and your future, it's probably not. If you have a $10,000 health deductible and you get cancer, is it really cheaper in the long run? So just some things to think about. We can't avoid it all. But I always say, if you have your hormones balanced, that decreases your risk of getting sex steroid or male hormone, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone related cancers, decreases your risk. And if you take a lot of supplements, and that's beyond the scope of talking tonight, or intermittent fasting, lots of things that you can do. I take a crap ton of supplements. I mean, like handfuls. So I'm trying to combat this and help my liver detox some of this stuff. So there's a lot that you can do, but I just want to make you aware of what they are. So that's, like I say, the scope of tonight, just to totally make you aware. Okay. So all the scary stats. So I'm going to move this board over here. And then let's talk about the number one. And I put this as a teaser on my video today to invite you guys here tonight. And that is sodas. And my son this morning, it was really funny because he sent me a picture. What do you do? And just put on synthetic because my periods are horrific. Well, Alice, tonight, I think you're going to maybe reconsider synthetic. So there is, however, I'll tell you my story about my son in just a second, but I want to get your question, Alice. There is a time when I use synthetic hormones to stop a crazy, horrific period, but only short term. Because once you get that balanced out, then you can come back behind that with bioidentical natural hormones, and you can actually improve your health and decrease risk of disease down the line. So that is my plug for don't worry if you're going to use a synthetic estrogen to stop those heavy periods for a little while. There are other things that you can do, but they're more invasive, like using a IUD or getting an ablation. There's lots of different things that you can do, but I would not stay on synthetic birth control pills, synthetic estrogen, or progestins for more than a few months till you get that under control. Okay. So yeah, so my son sends me this video this morning, and it's of a TV or a picture this morning of a TV in some gas station, little podunk. He's in Hot Springs going to school. This little podunk gas station, and the TV up over the I don't know, over the display cabinets and stuff. They're talking about how perimenopause is happening younger and younger and younger to women. And it's like an interview, like maybe on CBS or something like that. So he takes this screenshot of them talking about that because he knows how passionate I am about hormones. They're like my whole world. I'm the hormone queen, right? And so he sends that to me, and I'm looking at the picture, and underneath the picture of the TV in the picture is a display cabinet, a refrigerated cabinet. And you see the word Pepsi. I wish I'd blown the picture up because it's just like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was like, and so I think I posted it on my Facebook page. You can go find it. But I actually made a little art thing in Canva or whatever. And I actually put an arrow pointing from the Pepsi label on the display cabinet up to the TV talking about early perimenopause. And it was like, okay, what's wrong with this picture? It's like, it's right there. It's right there. The Pepsi label on this refrigerated thing is like, they're like, we don't know what causes it. And yet here's this refrigerator with Pepsi on it right under. And it's so crazy. If you look in the grocery store, there are literally in the super center aisles of sodas. It's just absolutely amazing. Haley said about hormones, lifestyle, men to their patients. Yes. To their patients. Yes. Lifestyle. Yes, absolutely. I'm not sure what that question was, Haley, but you can bring that back around if you could clarify a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about sodas. What is in them? We know they're bad for us. And I will tell you, it was hard to give up sodas. I gave up sodas probably about 15 years ago because I was like, I knew that was so bad. I had PCOS. My insulin was through the roof. I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot keep drinking sugar all day long. And then my son, I had a little harder time with him because they could actually get it at school. It was crazy. In the, like outside the cafeteria, they had machines. And like, they got sodas at school. This is just nuts. As I drink my story while watching this. Oh, Carolyn. Okay, soda has to go. But I'm like, I only drink water, not even juice. There's just so much sugar in everything. I mean, and they have not changed the FDA guidelines in over 40 years. And here's the crazy thing. If they put orange food coloring in a drink, they can call it orange juice. I mean, just stupid stuff like that. It's absolutely, absolutely crazy. Okay, so sodas. What is in them? Okay, so high fructose corn syrup is one of the main ingredients. And, fructose is only about 5% different from glucose or any, the other sugar molecules. Problem is there's just so much of it in our environment. They put it in everything. And these high fructose corn syrup molecules actually are causing something called insulin resistance. It's making your body overworked. It's making you make too much insulin. People's insulin are through the roof. I check insulin levels all day long on my patients, and it's crazy when they first come in how high their insulin levels can be. I have a patient that was just in today, and her son had come in and done blood work probably about 3 months ago, and his insulin levels were so high, and he's actually young, relatively thin. You wouldn't see just this big obese person and think prediabetes or anything like that. And his insulin levels were really high, and it was so cool because he's a young dad and he really just wants to live a long time. 3-month follow-up, he'd given up sodas and his insulin level was normal. I was like, this is so great. And I actually did that to my son when he gave up sodas. He was, I think 16, 17, and he gained a bunch of weight just watching or playing video games and drinking sodas. And, it was just like, I knew that they were bad and I limited how much he had, but limiting it is totally different from cutting it out. And it sounds like a hard thing if you drink a lot of sodas or sweet teas or whatever, Arizona tea or whatever, you think tea, that's okay, right? But it's not. I mean, they put so many chemicals and stuff. But I remember we checked his insulin level and it was high. And he gave up sodas that day because I told him, baby, you're going to be checking your finger with the sugar checker and have diabetes before you know it. He has a family history on his dad's side of diabetes. So he gave up sodas and he's not had another soda this day unless, I didn't know about it, but I'm with him quite a bit, and I know that he's given them up. So, okay. Also, artificial sweeteners are in sodas. So they disrupt your gut bacteria, which is very interesting. If you want to go back and watch some of my leaky gut biome videos. And what happens is when the gut bacteria get disrupted, the gut makes most of your serotonin, which helps your happy hormones. So we have an increased rate of depression, like through the roof. I mean, like women over the age of 50, about 40% of them are on antidepressants. And it's like, so these things are disrupting our gut. Well, when the gut gets disrupted, it throws our estrogen balance off. And when that happens, the gut gets more imbalanced. And then when that happens, because the GI tract has nerves that run to it from the brain called the parasympathetic and the sympathetic system, now we can get atrial fibrillation, we can get palpitations, and it's very, very common over 50, mostly over 50 in women, just because our hormones are so depleted, our natural hormones, and now all we have is these synthetic endocrine estrogen-like activity hormones messing with everything. And so when you affect that sympathetic parasympathetic system, it throws everything off. It throws your mood. Now you have palpitations. I have seen more, I don't know if you're familiar with this term, POT syndrome. I have seen more POT syndrome in my practice. It used to be like super rare. It was one of those things you had to do research on and like find it. And it's basically postural orthostatic hypotension, which means that when you stand up, you pass out. How much of that are we seeing? Plus, now we have young girls who have all these endocrine disruptors and they are bleeding like stuck pigs with their periods. Sorry to be blunt about that. And now their iron is all depleted. Now they're totally exhausted and they're passing out. And now they've got this endocrine disruption that's causing this parasympathetic, sympathetic feedback to be totally jacked up. And they are sick and tired and they're not progressing. They're not going on to college. They're not doing all these things. And it is destroying our society. And like, I don't think I'm, making this up. You guys know of women who have tremendous hormone imbalances that are crippling at times. So this is a real thing. Okay, so we'll get off the artificial sweeteners. I could go off on that all day long and I have a show called The Naked Doctor Show. It's the naked truth about health and lifestyle. But anyway, it's on my YouTube channel. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Tammy Tucker, I think there's a link in my link in bio to it as well. But I have a show all about artificial sweeteners, so you can go watch that. I mean, it's terrifying too. I love to talk about terrifying stuff. I guess that's how I roll. But anyway, but I talk about neuropathy and all sorts of things with artificial sweeteners. So just is stevia bad? Actually, any kind of chemical that's not natural, right, is quote bad, so to say, because our body doesn't know what to do with it. It's kind of like synthetic hormones. Not, hormones aren't bad, but synthetic are. And so when you look at stevia, it is actually the cleanest of the quote sweeteners. And it is the one I would pick. And I would not do NutraSweet, or if it's in a pink or a blue or a yellow package, do not do it at all. Truvia, I think, is a trade name for stevia, and monk fruit, but monk fruit's fruity. So, you only want to put it in fruit type things, right? But if you're going to be baking or something, stevia can still spike your insulin response just a little bit, but it doesn't have that quite glycemic index change. But yeah, if you're going to do something, I'd probably do stevia. Or honey. Yeah, honey, actually, it's still sugar. It'll still spike your insulin. But, if you're going to sweeten with something, because life happens, right? If you're going to make a better choice, honey would absolutely be a better choice. Plus, if you use honey that's from your environment or your area, it has antihistamine properties in it too. So that's a good thing. So organic, natural, local honey. Parasympathetic system is jacked from my last relationship. I developed a fibroid. Yeah, Shanna. So stress absolutely can cause all sorts of things to go out of balance, and plus chemicals, right? Oh, you're welcome, Amber. Okay, so BPAs. Okay, so in sodas, I just wanted to kind of knock out the fructose and the artificial sweeteners. But I told you that I was going to tell you the 3 worst endocrine disruptors. Okay, so you can kind of look at that and kind of decide what's the worst and what you're going to try to cut out right away. So I did sodas because of that picture my son sent me this morning. And the top 3 endocrine disruptors are in sodas. Where I grew up, everybody called sodas Cokes. I think that's all regional. What do you guys call them? Put it in the chat. Do you call them Cokes or do you call it soda? We call it, it's kind of like Kleenex. All tissues are a Kleenex, right? So we called everything Coke. And I think pop, some people said pop where they were from. So I don't know. What do you call it? Okay. So the 3 worst the endocrine system is what your hormones are. Pop from Ohio. That's cute. Yeah, whenever I hear the word pop, I almost think like pap. You almost have to say it kind of like a little northern accent. My fiance is from the north, so I get to hear north all the time. It's so charming. I'm messing with him. Coke's in Texas. Thanks, Harley. Coke, soda. Yeah, we used to always say Cokes, and I kind of moved over into soda. My fiance is my moderator. Honey, what do you call them? You call them, we don't drink them in this house probably, but soda in California. Okay. It's just kind of cool, kind of regional how that goes. Okay. He's ignoring me probably now. Or he's gone off to drink a Coke or a pop. Okay. So the 3 worst hormone disruptors, or endocrine, that's the other name. You'll see that a lot. Endocrine. So endocrine is your hormone system, are BPAs. And the BPAs include chemicals called BPS and BPF. And I won't go through the names of these, but you can take a screenshot of this or, oh, good, Carolyn. I'm so proud of you. You won't miss it. If you have artificial sweeteners in it, it'll take about 3 days to get your taste buds back, but just push through it and just drink your water. Hey, that makes me so excited. I love it. Soda tonic. Thank you, honey. My fiance just said soda tonic. You always say tonic with soda? That's cute. We never talked about that because we don't have sodas. I love it. I love it. Okay. So these BPAs are a group of the BPS and the BPF, and they act like estrogens in the body, synthetic estrogens, and they also disrupt your thyroid. So at this point, I want to bring in another board. I always have so many boards, but I did a talk the other day, and it was on synthetic hormones versus natural. And I had to pull out a little bit of nerdy science, carbonated flavor water, bad like bubbly. I don't know the brand bubbly. Holly, I don't know what the name is. I don't know about the brand bubbly. I'm assuming that's a brand, but there are carbonated in itself. I can't really speak to that. I'd have to look that up. I know that some of the phosphates can actually deplete bone. If anybody knows, you can comment on that. But anything that's got natural sweeteners or fruit or natural fruit is really a good replacement for some of these chemicals. Yay, Heather, 15 years. Congrats. It's kind of like we should get those like Alcoholics Anonymous. We should get like those buttons for how long we've been off sugar water. Like LaCroix. Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows or they have time to look it up real quick and put that in the chat. I'm not sure if those have chemicals in them or not. So I will come back tomorrow, or was Friday night. When I do Friday night, I'll answer those. I'll look those questions up and answer those for you and put those at the front of my talk at 7. Okay, so I did this talk the other night and I haven't erased this board because it was just so much work to draw all these molecules. And organic chemistry was probably the hardest class for me ever. I think it's probably the only C I ever made, but it was so boring because it's just all these lines and every little line has a significance. Like all these, they all mean something, but it's just so fascinating to me that the difference between molecules, like the difference between a natural progesterone and a synthetic progestin, like in birth control, is completely different. And they have actually altered these to patent this so they can make more money. And they have altered these so that they stick around longer and they have more of a keep you from getting pregnant properties, and they float around longer and they upregulate your estrogen progesterone receptors, increasing your risk of cancer. So synthetic progestins are super, super bad. Samson Delias said, grew up poor, we couldn't have soda, so never really drank them. That could have actually, it actually was to your advantage. I'm sorry that you guys were struggling and couldn't have what was considered the fun stuff, but probably better off for that. Okay, so natural estrogen, like estradiol, this is the chemical structure of this. It fits perfectly into receptors like a lock and a key. And it has a short half-life, so natural estrogen does its job and then it fades off into the distance. And these synthetic like horse premarin or conjugated estrogens or synthetic estrogens look like this. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, so totally different structure from a natural estrogen to a synthetic estrogen. Like we've got like different hydrogen, oxygen things on here. And then we have this whole group up here that's completely different in a synthetic estrogen. The liver can't metabolize these. They bind stronger and they overstimulate your receptors. They increase your clot risk because they go through the liver and trigger clotting factors. They have toxic metabolites and a long half-life. They don't just do the job and disappear. They stick around forever. So this is a synthetic estrogen. This is the synthetic estrogen molecule that they used in that study in 2002 that got everybody scared of estrogen. And even at that, the information was misrepresented, which is beyond the scope of what I'm talking about right now. But what I want to show you is that the chemical down here, I don't know if you can see this chemical right here, this is called a xenoestrogen. And there's xenoestrogen. And xeno means similar to an estrogen, of course. So it's similar to estrogen, but it's more similar to this synthetic estrogen here. So these are found in chemicals that I'm going to share with you in just a minute, but these xenoestrogens are what are in pesticides and anything that are estrogen endocrine disruptors. So I just thought it was pretty fascinating that I wanted to draw this out, that the synthetic and birth control estrogens are the same as these xenoestrogens. So pretty bad. Oh, and also similar to estrone, let me pull that back just a little bit, which is the natural estrogen that is a little bit more proliferative, and it's what causes weight gain for the most part after menopause. So that's why we like to balance that out with natural bioidentical hormones, of course. Okay, so now we're back to our picture here with our endocrine disruptors here, hormone disruptors. So now we are down to phosphoric acid. And this is why I wasn't sure about some of the things you asked me about like the bubbly brand or whatever. I don't know that these phosphoric acids or whatever aren't a problem, but they are number 2 on the list, and they actually work against calcium, and they strip calcium from the bones and can cause osteoporosis. So I'm thinking the thing that makes it bubbly, and again, that's like chemistry I'll have to look up. I'll look that up and let you know tomorrow. So I just didn't look that up. Okay, so we got some questions. So why they refer to as bioidentical better? Okay, so bioidentical is the same structure. When I pulled that picture over here with the molecules, bioidentical means that exactly the same structure as our bodies. Synthetic is when they stick other oxygen and hydrogen molecules, carbon molecules on it so that they can patent it. And the crazy thing is they take natural gas, petrochemicals. You go back and look at stories about the Rockefellers, like back in the early 1900s. They figured out that they could take their chemicals from their natural gas, crack them, distill them, and make molecules that look like steroid hormones. That's where all that comes from. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You go look that up. But anyway, so those looked like steroid molecules, like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are all steroid molecules, steroid hormones. And that looks just like them, except for they don't, and they act very differently. So bioidentical is what we put in our hormone creams, which is exactly what your body needs. Xeno means same. And our estradiol patches bioidentical. For the most part, they are. Birth control patches are not, but if it's like the Vivel dot or something like that, after if it's used for HRT, usually they are bioidentical. It gets a little confusing sometimes because you can still get bioidentical hormones from a commercial pharmacy. We use compounded bioidentical hormones so that we can tailor the dose for people. So fibroids caused by too much estrogen, absolutely. And we're seeing more fibroids from these synthetic estrogens than ever before. So yeah, absolutely. There's something called estrogen dominance, and that is usually what causes the fibroids. If you go back and you look at some of my videos, you can see, why estrogen dominance and why it's a problem. Is there a discount code? There is. Our TikTok 20 still takes $20 off the test kits. So she's talking about our test kits, and they're normally $129. But if you use the code TikTok 20 when you check out the discount code, it takes $20 off. So it's only $109. We check estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So we can check your hormones and see what they are. And then we can balance them with bioidentical hormones. And there is also a St. Patrick's Day special going on. My birthday is March 17th. Feel free to send a gift. Teasing. But anyway, St. Patrick's Day is my favorite holiday. I know Christmas and all those, but St. Patrick's Day is just like the coolest thing ever because my birthday's wrapped up in it too, I guess. But we have a St. Patrick's Day special, and the code is green97. So if you use that code, our test kit's only $97. So you might want to write that down. You can also go and look at my main page, and you'll see some of my promotions on there about the $97. So it's even better than the TikTok 20, but it ends after my birthday because that's my birthday present to you. So yeah, it's only $97. So for less than $100, you can get your hormone levels checked. This is a saliva test. It's super, super easy. It's free shipping and free shipping to the lab. It comes to your house. You put your saliva in the little tube. You fill out a questionnaire we ask you like 40 different symptoms that can be hormone related. We can do this from anybody who's 19 to 99. So yeah, wherever you're at in your life, we can absolutely help. Okay. So phthalates, that's kind of always a tricky one for me to say. I'm not even sure I spelled that right, but phthalates are actually testosterone blockers and xenoestrogens. So testosterone is a hormone that helps with your drive and your libido and your energy and helps you build muscle, which muscle burns fat for you. And so we're seeing a lot of obesity from lots of these different things. So It can actually work as a testosterone blocker, which is part of why we're seeing the fertility problems, because that can either be from the men or it can be from the women with all the xenoestrogens and the estrogen dominance that that's creating. So yeah, that's a thing. Parabens, these are a little bit spooky too. They are the PFAS, those are called the forever chemicals. Boy, that's a term that's like warm and fuzzy, isn't it? A forever chemical. That is a group of chemicals. It's like a family of chemicals, family of the forever chemicals. There's over 12,000 chemicals that fit in that category of the PFASs. And these actually, all these endocrine disruptors work in crazy ways. So they hijack the hormone feedback loop. So your brain has a little gland called the pituitary. We have the hypothalamus too, but the pituitary, and it tells your thyroid what to do. It tells your ovaries what to do. It tells your pancreas to make, I mean, there's just so many things that this endocrine feedback loop, and your adrenals, the HPA axis, all those things. And so it hijacks that. It interferes with estrogen detox because estrogen has to get broken down in your liver and converted in your liver. So it blocks that. It increases your fat storage. That estrone molecule that looks like estrone, it makes you obese, basically. Binds to your estrogen receptors, and it upregulates your estrogen receptors. So anybody who has estrogen receptor breast cancer, all these things are upregulating your breast receptors, making them more hungry for the synthetic estrogens. It's just, yeah, it's nuts. Polyps dangerous in the uterus. Polyps, by very nature, internet, are benign. Usually when we say tumors or cancers or precancers, but polyps can turn into cancers because anytime you have cellular change or cellular turnover in a tissue system, that can turn into cancer. It's like when you have a colonoscopy and they say they removed your polyp so they wouldn't turn into cancer. So, and all of that, any kind of tissue turnover, cellular turnover is going to be a problem if it's left unchecked and you have all this estrogen. Well, it's not really estrogen. It acts like estrogen. It looks like estrogen, but it's not estrogen. And that can really cause problems. Yay, Maybelline. I'm not sure. That might just be your little handle name, but yeah, you got a kit. I love it. I love it. So make sure that as soon as you get your kit, so they'll send it off tomorrow, that you put it by your bed and do it like first thing the morning after you get it. And if you have menstrual cycles still, people always say, well, my menstrual cycles are irregular. I had somebody just ask me that today. I'm like, if they're irregular, just do it whenever you get it, because we can see where you are in your cycle, and we can look at estrogen to progesterone ratios if you need testosterone. So there's lots of information we can get from it. And then we can talk to you about getting on some bioidentical hormone creams and at least give yourself a fighting chance with all this crap. I always say between my hormones and my supplements, I feel like I have a fighting chance because these chemicals are in everything, even the clothes I'm wearing. You can't avoid it, right? It's leaching out of my carpet right now. I mean, it's everywhere. So to give ourselves a fighting chance, it's super, super important to do all the things that we can to counterbalance that. Yay, yay. I love it. Okay. So they also, we said, bind to estrogen receptors and upregulate the receptors. They don't break down easy. They stick around a long time, and they stimulate the hormone receptors. So we're seeing a lot of cancers and things like that. Okay. Parabens are preservatives, and they are also in lots of things like oxybenzones are in SPF. So sunscreen. So look at your sunscreen. There are all natural sunscreens like just zinc. And then PEGs, PEGS, polyethylene glycol. That's in like almost everything. It emulsifies, it thickens, and it makes things smell good. And you have to be careful because even some pharmacies that do the bioidentical hormones use those chemicals to thicken, to help them absorb, to emulsify. And so our bioidentical hormone creams, I am very, very particular about being all natural. So super, super, super important that every single chemical structure in your hormones is natural. Bioidentical means just like your body, and we don't put any of this synthetic scary stuff in there. Okay, so where are some places that this stuff lives? So food packaging, and also like, like McDonald's French fries are like French fries like 10 years from now. So, I mean, there's something to that, right? I mean, a potato, like just a regular potato, like sitting on the cabinet is growing like, what do they call that? The little eyes and stuff after a couple weeks. But yet a McDonald's French fry still looks like a plastic McDonald's French fry in like 20 years. I mean, it's absolutely nuts what these chemicals do. So food packaging, pesticides, if you look at, and I have to be careful. So I'm going to leave it at that because I actually got my hand slapped. So I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but I'm just saying, okay, chemicals. But yeah, so there's certain things you can't say without getting shut down. If I ever get shut down on here, they usually like kick me out for, I think it's like 5 minutes. So if I ever get kicked out saying things, just know I'll be back. Just wait and come back in a few minutes. But yeah, but I have, knock on wood, I haven't had one in a while because like you, after like a couple violations, you like, yeah, I don't know what happened. So anyway, okay, this is crazy. Receipt paper. Like when you get your receipts from the cash register, they have parabens in them. And like, think about all the receipts. And what's really interesting is receipts don't really even make a whole lot of sense, because if I have a receipt in my purse and it's there longer than, don't look at my purse. My purse is really scary. But if you see a receipt in your purse, like 6 months later, yes, 6 months later, whenever you clean your purse out, there's no ink on it anymore. They're like, it's disappearing ink. So that chemical in there actually is what gets on your hands, that actually is the chemicals in it's in the phthalates. And that's what is a huge endocrine disruptor. And think about all day long, especially people working in department stores who are touching that receipt paper all day long. That's just, it's a thing. So I am really careful now. I try not to even like get the receipts. Like it says, do you want a receipt? I'll be like, no, I don't want a receipt. Maybe that's why they want to save paper. They want people like me to say that. Be wearing gloves. Yeah, that's nuts. Get you some gloves for the store. Probably not a bad idea anyway, because all the germs and everything all over the place. But okay. Actually, oh my gosh, I think I'm just gonna totally cry right now, because you can't even wear plastic gloves, right? Because the plastic, you can't avoid it, which is why I say you have to do things to detox your body and supplements and eat as clean as you can when you can, and do the best you can. I'm not trying to scare you completely, but every time you know these things, every time you're mindful of these things, you're making little micro choices that are better and better. And so when women get on bioidentical hormone creams, sometimes they're like, I'm not feeling much better, but they're drinking sodas or pop or whatever we call it, Cokes. And it's like you're having all these bombarding xenoestrogens. And so our poor little things aren't even going to touch it. So really important that you just do the best you can, trying to, at least the sodas, because it has all of these things in it. If you're drinking that all day long, you're literally just dumping that in your body. Yeah, it feels like you can't do anything safely. I know. So we're just in this environment. We have to accept these cancer rates. We have to know that we just have, I'm not trying to scare you. Again, it's about making these little better micro choices to have the best chance that you can. Okay, Teflon, we know about that. Teflon got in big, big trouble. Oh, thank you, Susie. Teflon got in big, big trouble because of the chemicals, and they were leaching it into the ground, and people were getting cancer and stuff. So I don't know. It's kind of just nuts how these big companies get away with stuff. Water bottles, that's a big thing. I always drink in metal when I can. Stainless steel, I guess. Is that what it is? I think they're stainless steel. They're not aluminum. I know they're not. But yeah, so I always do that and try to avoid water bottles, because when they get heated, it actually leaches out into the water. And so you can have chemicals that leach out. And those are usually the PCBs or the PCBs. The PCBs are the ones that usually are found in the water bottles. Lotions and sunless tanner. Okay, and this is what I promised you. If you stay till the end, we're going to look at my bathroom products, and I'm probably going to be really embarrassed and scared and sad because these are things that I love, and I try to stay out of the sun because it's so hard on the skin and sun damage and things like that, because I've done a lot in the sun over the years, and I'm a little Irish girl, probably why I love St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, you have to stay out of the sun or I look like a dot to dot with all my freckles. So I've been using this sunless tanner. It's called Tenologist Express Tan. I love it because I'm not doing an ad for this, I promise, because I think I'm going to probably not be using it anymore. But it's clear. We call it tan water, so it's totally clear. And it doesn't like stain clothes and stuff like that. So let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, my glasses. I think my glasses are dirty. Let's clean my glasses here. Hang on. Eek. Makeup probably on them, or lotion on them probably with PCBs. Okay. There's a lot of chemicals in here. We got propylene glycol. Where was that? Pegs. Yeah, we got that. Oh my gosh, this is not looking good. Things I can't pronounce that are probably in those. There's some natural stuff. Actually, this is not PEG 40. That's that polyethylene glycol. That's not good. And in sunless tanners, that's actually what makes the pigmentation happen. So, it's not good. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to give this one up. It's not looking good. Okay. So anyway, there's that. I don't know if that's in all sunless tanners. I'd have to see. Okay, this was just a random thing I picked called Olaplex number 6. I like this whole line of hair products. And this is a bond smoother, and I have like super frizzy curly hair, so I use this to kind of straighten a little bit. And it speeds up your blow dry time, and it helps with the frizz. Okay, let's get to the chemicals. A lot that are hard to pronounce. It's got something that says BIS / aminopropyl diglycerol divalproate. So I'm thinking that's probably not a good thing. Hydroxypropyl hexyl cinnamol. No idea what that is. PG propyl EDTA. I don't know. I'm going to have to look up these chemicals. I'm going to assume that some of these are those pegs, just because they say PG on them. But anyway, so I'm going to have to research this one a little bit. And I'm sure that there are lots of products. I've never been really careful about reading for chemicals and avoiding chemicals. So I'm going to start that soon, like tonight. Like I'm probably going to pitch some stuff because, again, you can't avoid everything, but I think I'm going to make a real concentrated effort to start looking at the stuff I'm putting on my body. Okay, so this is, I love Bath and Body Works. This is strawberry pound cake. It smells so good. Okay, so it's got, I know the caprylic acid and everything. That's healthy. Glycerin. Some alcohols, of course, stearic acid, cocoa seed, dimethicone. I'm not seeing a whole lot in this. It's got polysorbate. I'd have to look at that because I only did the most common problems. So I have to look up the polysorbate, but it says dermatologist tested. Not sure what that means. Vitamin E, aloe, shea butter, hyaluronic acid. Made without parabens and artificial dyes. So I'm going to say Bath and Body Works passed the test. So I'll smell like strawberry pound cake and be okay with that. Okay, what do you think about EWG to see about clean products? EWG. I'm not sure what that is. Can you put that in the chat, Marina? You can teach us something. I'm not sure what EWG is. Huh. See about clean products. Oh, okay. You guys know about this. Try the Yuka app. Okay, Susie. Yuka app. EWG. Can somebody say what EWG stands for? So they're saying the Yuka app. I'm assuming that's just an app that you can go on probably to check chemicals in your stuff. App that shows what our products have in it. Oh, that's awesome. And it gives you a score. I had no idea. I mean, like lots of people have no idea, right? So you can't avoid everything. But how cool is it that there's an app that you can go and check your products before you buy them? Is there like a QR code or something? That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So a lot of people don't think about just what they're putting on their skin, let alone, what you're eating in your food. I always look on my labels for food and that I'm buying in the grocery store, and they say if you buy your food in the center of the grocery store, that's where all the chemicals are. So buy them from the periphery, and you can check your labels. And if it's got more than 5 ingredients, whether they're good or bad ingredients, more than 5, the odds are it's going to be something bad. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. You guys have been awesome tonight. Thanks for teaching me about EWG and the Yuka app. I love it. I'm going to check that out. You guys check it out too. Most of the Bath and Body Works are not approved. Oh, darn. Okay. Well, I didn't see a whole lot on there, but I didn't have all the chemicals I know I was looking for. So, all right. Darn it. I love that stuff. Okay. I'll find something more organic though. I'm gonna go on a whole new mission to try to find organic skincare products. I love it. One of the things too is because there's a ton of information out there about aluminum and Alzheimer's. This is the coolest thing. It's actually like a rock, like a crystal cube, and it is an anti-deodorant. Now, it's not antiperspirant. You'll still sweat. So I know if I go somewhere that I'm going to be like really sweating a lot or outside in the heat, 101 degrees or whatever, I'll use my antiperspirant. But the little rock is so cool, and you just wet it, and it basically has some mineral salts that keep the bacteria from smelling, and it works great. I would have never believed it, but it really works. I mean, people around me might tell me that it doesn't. My fiance could say, oh, no, actually it doesn't, but I think it does. So yeah, I love that little salt rock. You just go on Amazon and type in anti-deodorant salt rock. I love it. Most of the Bath and Body Works are not approved to have a bad score. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I love you guys so much, and I just want you to be healthy and be aware of this. You cannot eliminate all the chemicals, but just being aware and minimizing whatever you can, especially if you have young children who their endocrine hormone systems are developing. Please be mindful for them. And it only takes a few more extra minutes to maybe use the app or, check the scores on stuff to see how bad it really is, because nobody's going to look out for you. Nobody's going to be your advocate unless you are. And please go get your hormones checked. You can order the kit at Hormone Bliss. That's our website. And you can go to my link in bio. So go to my main page with all my videos and free downloads and information and stuff. And don't forget to follow me if you like this stuff. It just helps the algorithm know that this content is helpful. And you can go order a test kit. It is only $97 if you use the code GREEN97 for the St. Patrick's Day sale. And normally it's $129. So that's a super good deal. So it's amazing. Go check your hormones. Free shipping to the lab. It's a saliva kit. Tons of research behind the saliva testing. It is spectrometry. It's a sophisticated lab test that is cleared by the FDA, and it's accurate, been used for almost 50 years. So let me just say that. But yeah, very, very accurate, especially when you're doing bioidentical topical hormone creams. So order you a test kit. Let us work with balancing your hormones with bioidentical natural hormones. And all of our stuff in here is natural and safe. So I think if you checked this, we would get a good score on the Yuka app. So awesome. Okay. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights at 7. So please come back Friday night at 7, and I'll have a really cool topic for you. I always put a little promo video so you guys can go watch it and see if it's something you're interested in and watch. So I throw that usually up around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's when I get around to picking a topic. If you guys have a topic you want, please direct message me. If I didn't answer your questions tonight, direct message me, and I try to get to everybody. Please forgive me if I don't. We get a lot of messages and stuff, and so my team and I try to address everybody. But direct message me. I'll do everything I can to help. Any meds or just topicals? In our bioidentical hormones, it is progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. So I don't call those meds, but technically they, you can get estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone in prescription form, which is what I do all day long in my practice. These are prescription strength, but they are grandfathered in, which is pretty cool. And our chemist is actually able to make prescription strength dosages the same as I actually prescribe to my patients through compounding pharmacies for their creams. So it's super, super cool that we can do this. And that's what allows me to be able to provide hormone creams for women outside the state that I'm licensed to practice in. So super, super cool. I love it. Okay, I gotta go. They're gonna kick me off. I love you. I'll see you Friday night.